speaking of good, it is time once again for our segment with Dr. Jamie Ronchetto from Cinema Veterinary Centre. How are you this morning?
I'm good, thank you.
So last time we talked about puppies and bringing new pets into the home.
Yes.
This time let's talk about the kitty cat friends, because they are definitely a different mindset. Definitely, there's differences in kittens and puppies. Obviously, I mean, aside from just the biology, but even in their behavior and introducing them to the home and things like that, right?
Yes.
And first of all, the good news with most cats, at least, unless they've got some health issues or something, is they're fairly easy to potty train, right?
Oh yes, cats are very easy to potty train. It just seems to be innate in them to use the litter box sort of from day one. So that part is usually very easy.
And even if not, I've noticed that when I've had them, all I've had to do is put them in there, kind of scratch them, like move their little toes around in it.
Right.
And all of a sudden they're like,
and they
oh my gosh, I get it. So that's the thing. But when you have other cats already in the home, it could be a little bit of a problem, right?
Right. I think usually introducing a kitten isn't as difficult as introducing a little bit older of a cat, an adult cat. Certainly with introducing an adult cat into your house, especially if you have other pets, you want to do so gradually. I always recommend maybe letting them get used to one room first, because kitties can be very cautious, so it's going to take them time to open up. So let them get used to one room. They can smell the other animals and smell your new smell and get used to those surroundings. And then when they feel ready, if you just leave the door open, they'll kind of venture out on their own when they want to. And then by then, the other pets have sort of smelled that there's another kitty, and that kitty has smelled that there's other pets, so it's not a big shock.
Now, if you have bringing a cat into the home, if you have a dog and you're not sure if the dog likes cats or not, so maybe they've never been around them, does that same rule apply, or is there an easier way to introduce them? You have a high tea or a happy hour or something. What do we do to kind of do that? Is there anything different?
I mean, every dog's going to be a little bit different, but definitely being a supervised first visit is always going to be best, so you can be there and make sure nobody gets hurt. A lot of times, one little swat on the nose from the cat is all the dog needs to back down.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
And the other thing, too, very, very clearly, especially if you're bringing an adult cat in, it makes sense for kittens, too, but adult cats, is it a good idea not to let them go outside? I'm
a big fan for indoor-only kitties around here. We have too many coyotes and birds of prey, and they just go missing very easily. So
right, but yeah. even still, is it true that like, or if you move and your cat's been an outside cat, that they should stay in for at least a few weeks, because if not, they might trek their way back home? Or is that just something that's a myth? Because I know that I've known people who have moved to new neighborhoods and they've let their cat out and the cat's never come back.
Never
or is
come
it just
back. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that can happen. They are roamers, and if they're used to being outdoors, they want to go explore, and I think they can get themselves into trouble that way. It just depends on the cat, I think, and especially there's differences between male and female cats too, because the males are going to want to roam and explore and develop their territory even more than female kitties would.
Exactly. We're going to take a quick traffic break and a quick station break, as we call it. Then we'll be right back with Dr. Jamie Ronchetto from Cinema Veterinary Centre. And we're back with Dr. Jamie Ronchetto from Cinema Veterinary Centre, located where? On Cinema Drive. That makes sense, right? And number, by the way, 253-9300. And the website, cinemavet.com. And we were talking about introducing, like a couple weeks ago when you were on, we talked about bringing puppies home. Now we're talking about kittens and cats and bringing them home and introducing them to the family. Now, as kittens, it's a good idea, just like with puppies, make sure they've got all their shots and make sure the first thing, and even if you're adopting a cat from the animal shelter or someone else, you should always bring them in for a checkup, right?
Absolutely. It's very important to make sure that they're healthy and to get them on track for a good, healthy life. It's always good to check their stool for parasites and get them on parasite preventatives. And like you said, make sure all their vaccines are up to date.
Exactly, and especially kittens, they come with those little parasites, don't they?
They can.
And so that's making sure. I think probably almost every single one that I've ever gotten a kitten. And I haven't had I haven't had any kittens in about 20 years, because and eventually they all grew up, and now I just have dogs. But the ones that I got had worms when I got them, and they were from a little pet store. Yeah, and it's not a huge deal, but they just need to go through that process. Why it's always good to take them in. Also, making sure, what's the earliest you can either spay or neuter either a cat or a dog?
We say around 6 months of age.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a very important thing to do, especially with cats, because you know what? The summer nights, I tell you, they like to sing those songs. We've got a couple cats in our neighborhood that obviously their owners let them roam the night, and obviously they have not been spayed or neutered because there was some romantic interludes going on, and then my dogs got all beagles. What do? Outside in the middle of the night. It's like, and then you're trying to herd them in.
Singing the
like,
songs of their people.
Everyone is singing, so that's very important. And you touched on a very, very important thing, is that we have a lot of wildlife surrounding us here. And even if you're like, I live in Old Orchard in Valencia, and occasionally coyotes will traverse the paseos even during the day. So it's very important, if you love your kitty cat, to keep them indoors as if at all possible.
Yes.
I know you might have grown up and mom and dad might have let them roam free, and they always came back, and I used to do that too, until we moved to a new neighborhood where there were definitely coyotes and everything else around there. Not to mention, with the drought, there also a lot of those critters are hanging out more in town.
Right.
So.
They become more bold when they're looking for that food and water source, so they'll definitely come closer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how did you had a pet adoption a couple weeks ago. Did that go well?
Yeah, it went really well. I think they ended up adopting 2 or 3 kitties, which was great. So anytime they can find new homes, that is successful. Outstanding.
And so again, if you have adopted a dog or a cat, bring them to Cinema Veterinary Centre for a checkup. The Dr. Ronchetto's 253-9300, 253-9300, cinemavet.com. You can meet the entire cast.
Yes.
And learn about see testimonials and more. So thank you so much. Always a pleasure to have you come in.
Thank you.
So anything else coming up that you guys have going on? Any events or anything?
The Bow Wows and Meows Pet Fair is at Hart Park, and that's going to be on Sunday, October 12th.
Okay.
And that's a huge event.
Hart Park, Old Town Newhall, right where the roundabout all meets. Very easy to find. So that'd be perfect if you. And is that a pet friendly event? It used to be.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a huge pet adoption. You can bring your own pets, and a lot of the local shelters and rescue groups will be there with their adoptables.
Outstanding. Again, always a pleasure, Dr. Ronchetto. Good luck and have a great day.
Thank you.